Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen speaking out today, calling on Congress to act fast or the clock will soon run out on the nation's debt. Satluj TV has more on what she's calling a constitutional crisis. Yellen warns the debt ceiling could not only trigger a constitutional crisis, but will call into question the federal government's creditworthiness. She says the federal government could run short of cash to pay its bills as early as June and outline the possible financial market consequences if the debt ceiling is not raised soon. Shockwaves could ripple through global financial markets as investors question the value of U.S. bonds, which are seen as among the safest investments and a building block for the world's financial system. President Joe Biden has asked Congress to raise the debt ceiling with no conditions and rejected the Republican-led House's bill passed last month.
The debt limit was increased 3 times under President Trump. It should be no different this time. Given the limited time Congress now has, it is clear that the only practical path to avoid default is for Congress to suspend the debt limit without conditions.
The bill would raise the government's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling, but included sweeping spending cuts over the next decade. Washington regularly sets a limit on federal borrowing. Its current ceiling is equal to about 120% of the country's annual economic output. Without a solution, Washington could have to stop borrowing by July or August. President Joe Biden calling the stalemate a manufactured crisis.
Instead, we should be debating a vision of our country's future, their vision versus our vision. Totally legitimate. Totally legitimate.
Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer proposed to suspend the government's debt limit for 2 years without conditions, but Republicans in the Senate and House have outright rejected the measure. Legislation would require 60 votes to proceed in the 100-seat Senate. With only a 51-49 Democratic majority in the Senate, Schumer would need the support of at least 9 Republicans to clear a 60-vote threshold to advance such legislation. As a last resort, the president could invoke the 14th Amendment. Section 4 of the amendment states that the validity of the public debt of the United States shall not be questioned. Some experts have suggested that Biden could invoke this amendment to raise the debt ceiling on his own if Congress does not act. Biden says he will not negotiate over the debt ceiling increase, but would discuss budget cuts after a new limit is passed. The president is preparing to meet Tuesday at the White House with Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, Republican Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, and top congressional Democrats to discuss the issue. For Satluj TV, I'm Layla Gulen.
Do you ever wonder what's behind the news? What is it that you are not being told? Going behind the news and finding the truth. Let the truth flow. Satluj Network. Let the truth flow.